very, very strong.
All right, let's move over to our barangay officials from Dasmarinas village in Makati, Barangay Captain Rosales and Kagawad Arenas. Good evening. I'd like to throw the same question to both of you. From your perspective, from where you are, from the barangays that you serve, is it still relevant? Are the services that a barangay brings relevant to your people over there?
Well, definitely it's very relevant. Although you will say that the Dasmarinas village is a very rich community, you must remember that for every resident, there are still the kasambahay, and these are the people we have to serve, we want to serve, and they're the bigger majorities. In our voting population of about 5,300, we would say, it's easy to say that more than half are the kasambahays, and they are the ones who need the social services that we provide, and they're the ones that we are trying to work for. We're the ones that we provide the seminars on for livelihood, for cooking, for giving them additional skills so that they can earn more than what they are earning as kasambahay. So truly, it's only through the barangay system that we are able to reach everybody. Remember, the barangays are there from birth to death, or even beyond death. You have to help the widows who are left there, and it's even if we say Dasmarinas village is a rich community, we must remember that there are still a lot of them, or a lot of our members who are not rich, and that's what they're doing, serving them.
Mr. Arenas, would you like to add something?
Yeah, but when we say barangay, it is the grassroots level of politics. This is the first, or this would be the first that would touch the people, and for us, the barangay should play an important role in the politics, because grassroots level of politics is very well known in the Philippines. Like, for example, if you run for a higher public office, you turn to your barangay captains, you turn to your kagawads to help you in running. So for me and for my village, barangay plays a very important role, because it not only caters the rich, but it also caters the poor. And also in our village, it's not all what is in the higher level, or they're rich and they're we have also those who are in need of healthcare, basic services that government provide.
All right, let's flip the discussion now and talk about, aside from the given, the obvious, let's talk about some of the problems that are thrown at the barangays, and with respect to its comparisons to traditional politics, how some people say this is just the breeding ground of traditional politics, wherein cheating is still rampant, wherein you still see the birth of traditional politicians. James, I want to bring this back to you.
Sure.
Do you get the same complaints? Do you get the same issues thrown at different parties and back and forth? And do you see the actual political parties having their basic units into the barangays?
Well, as far as the negative observations about the barangay, we get it from all sides. We get it from voters, we get it from the politicians themselves who want the barangay elections scrapped. So we get it from all sides. Do we see that? Do we see that that politics plays its hand in the barangay? Absolutely. In fact, some senators have actually come clean and said that, yeah, last elections we used the barangay structure. So it's pretty much it's an open secret. It's a secret that everyone talks about, and it's kind of disturbing, because all the time COMELEC is out there telling people it's non-partisan, it's not politics, it should be public service. That's all it should be. But nevertheless, politics creeps into it, and to a certain extent, you feel that it's inevitable that politics becomes involved in this one way or the other. So it's a fight not to keep it clear of politics, but mostly to keep the politics down to a more manageable level.
And do you see the instances of which the incumbent, let's say mayors and even councillors or congressmen in their districts, supporting the barangay elections, physically, in terms of campaigning for them and even in the posters?
Yes, in fact, a lot of the reports that we get now are observations of that nature.
Is it allowed by the rules?
You have to tread very carefully, because the rule says no politics, but then again the rule also says this is not to prevent people from making known their personal endorsements, because you can't prevent that.
That's a fine line to tread.
Exactly. When you have politicians holding up the arms of barangay candidates, that's very dangerous territory. And you have to treat that on a case-to-case basis.
All right. I want to bring the same question to our guests in the studio. Mr. Lim, how do you respond to that? How the critics of the barangay system say that it should be abolished because it's just breeding ground for the youth, the startup politicians, to teach them how to quote unquote learn the ropes of dirty politics.
Firstly, PJ, we have to set the parameters. Unfortunately, the system is very mediocre. The idea is simple. Although it is non-partisan, as the law states, but it cannot be apolitical. The mere fact it's an election, politika yon. Hindi naman pwedeng tatakbo ka at sabihin mo hindi politika, di ba? So the mere fact you're campaigning, definitely it is political. Let us take away the concept that when you run in an election, it is not politics. What do you call it? Definitely it is politics. So ang idea lang dyan is, how is it related to the higher local government or national officials? Definitely the concept of why is it non-partisan? Bakit siya kailangan hindi partisan? Because in the barangay level, very close families are the ones that are actually fighting against each other. Unfortunately, magkaklase yan, magkakaibigan yan, magkakapamilya. These are the people in the barangays that are going against each other. And through the years, that's the reason why one of the advocacies earlier on, we were saying that the barangay should have a longer term period, for the simple fact that we have to heal the wounds of this political exercise. The mere fact it's called a political exercise, it is politics. So I guess we have to wake up to the reality, na it is really being used because a lot of, especially in the rural areas, the barangay officials are the political minions, are the leaders of the higher local government officials when it comes to their time to re-elect themselves or for them to go in an election, because the barangay officials, being in the grassroots level, they're the ones who know the people, who understands their pulse, who understands their needs, who can actually not only respond but also deliver if supported properly. So I guess this issue is something that we really have to look deeper into. The idea really is if we educate our voters correctly, then the impact will be lesser.
All right, Ms. Rosales, Ms. Arenas, I'd like to give you the opportunity to respond to those critics also about how they say this is breeding ground for traditional politics. We don't know in terms of in your level, people may argue, oh, mayaman na yan, they don't need to steal from the government and they're really there for public service. But how do you respond to this? How, some people see it as that.
No, I'd like to differ from the opinion of our dear friend here that it should be considered political situation. If you think about the ideal, which is what I think how the law was made, the concept was to make a community-based, something that will not be affected or infected by what we call politics, because community services should not be deterred or disallowed just because you don't belong to the same party. That's why it's called community service. So even if you say it's not a well done thing, but I joined this barangay election with that kind of mindset. Maybe it was being naive of me, but I still believe there's an opportunity to keep this away, to keep it away. But unfortunately, in this election, since there was an insistence that we continue with the barangay elections right after a very heated national elections, it's unfortunate this barangay elections is definitely being infected by politics. So, sayang. It's a sad situation for the ideal of what a barangay election should have been.
Mr. Arenas, you seem to be one of the youngest ones in this whole picture. Why do you, put yourself into this scenario of serving the barangay, even though there are these criticisms about it? And are you idealistic that you can live up to the